Hello, John Thurman here. Thanks for joining me for this little short course on 8 ways to enhance your relationship. I really am truthful when I say this. You can take some of this content and begin to really radically change your marriage to the good. A lot of this is based on Dr. John Gottman's groundbreaking research on couples and relationships and how to enhance your relationship. I'm so glad you've joined me today. This will be short and to the point, but I promise you, it can take you to some really great places in your marriage. I'll tell you a little bit about me real quick. My name is John Thurman. I'm a mental health professional, an author, speaker, and work-life consultant. And my goal is to help individuals and couples have more resilient and rewarding relationships. I use a practical, faith-based approach. I believe that God is all for marriages, and He gives us the tools that we need in the context of our relationships and in the church and in His Word to live a more meaningful life. Regardless of where you are in your marriage, we could always use a little bit of improvement. My wife and I have been together for 53 years, and one time a young couple asked us, they said, well, Angie and John, what's the secret to being married? I think at that time we were like 48 years into this. And my wife, she's a truth teller, man. She is a truth-telling ginger. She said, well, let me tell you the secret. John can quit Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I can quit Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. In 48 years, we've just never quit on the same day. And then, depending on what service we go to, a Saturday service or Sunday service, we tell Jesus, we really messed it up this week. And Jesus says, yes, you did, but I haven't bailed on you. I haven't given up on you. So don't you give up on each other. So let's just keep moving forward. And we do. And that's really what we've done. Now, do we fight? Oh, yeah, we still fight. Do we have disagreements? Do we have some disagreements? But what we don't do is we don't quit on each other. We work through them. We give each other some space and time. And really, some of the secrets that we've learned over the years, we learn from other married couples. And in these next few minutes, I'm going to share with you 8 things that you can do to enhance your relationship. These are so important. You can go to my website, johnthurman.net, and learn more. I've got podcasts, I've got blogs. You can go and read more and more about this. But number one, the most important things we can do as a couple is to turn towards each other. Dr. John Gottman, once again, one of the pioneering marriage researchers, indicates that one of the best things couples can do for each other is to reconnect and to turn towards each other. It's so easy to drift apart, whether you're both working or not, whether you have kids. With all this going today, there's so many distractions, and some of these distractions are good things, but sometimes good can be the enemy of the best. And so what we need to do is find ways to be less distracted, less busy, because sometimes that can turn into anger and resentment and pull us apart. And yet what we learn is when couples make attempts to turn towards each other, just to sit down and have a meal together, to look in each other's eyes, to maybe share dessert, whatever it is, that those couples who turn towards each other or learn to turn back towards each other are 90% more likely to stay together and work it out. The more distracted you are, the higher risk you are for not making it. So take some baby steps and just turn towards each other. This next slide, it comes from For Men Only and For Women Only by Jeff and Shanti Feldman. I'd encourage you to buy those books. They're great reads, but boy, they're loaded with some good stuff. So the second thing you want to do is appreciate the differences. As a general rule of thumb, guys, our wives want to feel valued, cherished, and secure. They really want to feel like they're valuable to us. That's why when you look at other women or you're distracted, she's not so happy. So remember, as a general rule of thumb, women want to feel valued, cherished, and secure. Now, ladies, let me tell you what guys want. Matter of fact, in their survey, they said a man would rather feel respected than loved. See, to us, respect is love. So women need to feel valued, cherished, and secure. Men need to feel, in the heart of hearts, a man wants to feel competent, needed, and respected. So our ladies want to feel what? Valued, cherished, and secure. And men want to feel competent, needed, and respected. Let me ask you a quick question. How are you doing in those areas? How would you grade yourself? Once again, the two books are For Men Only and For Women Only by Jeff and Shanti Felden. I'd encourage you to get them. They're an easy read. They're based on some great research that they did, and I think you'll find some encouragement and hope in there. Number 3, understand your love languages. Do you know there are 5? Dr. Gary Chapman wrote on this a number of years ago. You can actually Google the love language quiz to learn yours. Here's why this is important. You and I need to understand our operating systems. And what Dr. Chapman discovered was that in the area of love and feeling connected with people, there are about 5 of these. And oddly enough, very rarely are couples' love languages in the same order. Let me just go over them real quick. First of all is touch, and that can be sexual and non-sexual touch. This person loves to be touched appropriately. And so when you touch them, you're saying, I love you. I want to be with you. And so touch is a huge thing for them. So touch is the first one. The second is words of encouragement. Just a genuine compliment, an encouraging word. Matter of fact, Dr. Jordan Peterson says of all the people he studied, what most people need in this world is someone just to give them a simple word of encouragement. You know, many of us, the love language we have is words of encouragement. If your spouse is a words of encouragement person, when you just say something kind to them, they blossom. Men and women do this. The next one is time together alone. Not time in a group, but time together alone. That could be movie night, date night. That could just be sitting in a chair having a cup of hot cocoa. But time together alone is another love language. The third one is gifts. Don't tell me you love me. Bring me home some flowers, some candy, some jewelry. Bring me home a membership to a gun club. So gifts is another love language. And then there's acts of service. This is one of my wife's. Acts of service means that don't tell me you love me. How about cleaning up the kitchen without me having to remind you? How about, this is the news flash, taking out the trash without having to be reminded? Guys, believe me, acts of service. If your spouse is act of service, look for ways to do that. Now, here's a caution. A lot of people take the love language study and go, oh, well, here are my love languages. You just love me and my love languages. Well, while that's true, the real key to take this little free love language instrument, the love language quiz is what it's called, just Google it, is to understand your spouse's love language. Because when you begin to understand their love language, guess what happens? You start loving them more in their love language, and wow, it becomes reciprocal. You get more love back. I encourage you to do this. So that's 3. Number 4, take responsibility. You are the only person responsible for your happiness. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your spouse. You're the one responsible for your happiness. Even if you're a Christian, you're in your relationship with the Lord. You see, if I marry someone else to be my escape clause, to be my way out of a bad situation, it's not going to go well. You can learn to be happy in your relationship. Now, if there's violence and abuse going on, that's a whole different thing. You get some therapy about that, talk to a competent pastor, and get yourself safe. But for most of us, we're not in that type of a dire situation. Realize that you're the one responsible for your happiness. So do what you can do to serve each other in your relationship, but don't look to your partner to bring you happiness. I'll tell you this, as you pursue that on your own, as you pursue the Lord, and this is in the context of marriage, you will find your happiness together grows. But if you're looking for that other person to make you happy, they will let you down, they will disappoint you, and you will feel ripped off. But if you looking to the Lord as your strength and source of happiness and your own realistic expectations, that can go a long way towards strengthening your marriage. Number 5, this is so important. Brag about your spouse. It's so easy to be distracted by criticism, isn't it? But when you catch your spouse doing something right, tell them. I tell women all the time, men are like dogs. We need 3 things to be happy. Someone to play with us, someone to feed us, and someone to occasionally pat us on our head and say, good boy, good boy. Ladies, I kid you not, if you have a son or a husband, anytime you catch them doing something right and you tell them how much that means to you, you can almost watch them straighten up and receive it. Now, men, let me tell you this. One of the things your wives and girlfriends need is encouragement also. They just need to be bragged on. You need to talk about their personhood. You need to talk about how they dress in the positive way. You need to find ways just to build her up and edify her. I really believe, once again, if we can legitimately brag on our spouses and our kids, things just get better. Number 6, this is so important. Shred your scorecard. I don't know what it is, and I could be wrong here, and you can email me if you need to on this one, but guys, we kind of forget stuff. You hurt our feelings? Well, we get over it. But it's like some of our wives will be going, do you remember it was August the 12th, 2022, winds are out of the southwest 18 miles an hour when you said this to me. Bitterness and resentment can only tear relationships apart. You know, if you've been hurt and you hold on to that hurt, you are still allowing the person to hurt you to control you. So if you've got some bitterness and resentment, just Google Bible verses on bitterness and resentment, because the scripture is really clear. Have no part of it. It only chokes you out. It's an internal toxin. And what a lot of people do is they make an idol out of their bitterness and resentment. And I promise you, if you do that, it will shred your heart and destroy your relationships. So instead of being bitter and resentful, let's look at this verse. This is Ephesians 4:32. I love what it says. So here's what you do instead of being bitter and resentful. Instead, be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. You see, you and I are grace babies. If it wasn't for what the Lord has done, we would be in a mell of a hess. And so if you've got some old bitterness and resentment issues, some old hurts and traumas you need some work on, talk to a trusted pastor, a trusted friend. Seek out a professional Christian therapist, someone who's got a proven track record who can help you. The Lord wants to free you from this bitterness and resentment, and I promise you, when you begin to deal with that, you'll find that your family begins to draw closer to you. Number 7, touch more. Physical touch has a medicinal role. Since touch reduces stress and relieves pain, it's just a great thing to do. A healthy relationship includes physical touch between a husband and wife. They could be hand-holding, back rubs, anything you look at. And by the way, guys, let me just give you a tip. I share this some in my workshops. When you offer to give your wife a back rub, just rub her back. If you will, visualize safety tape from her armpit to her ankle bone. And if she wants you to rub her back, just rub her back. If she wants you to touch anything else, she can let you know. Don't go there on your own. So physical touch. We know from studies that couples that touch have less stress. They feel more connected. They feel more love. They feel more empathy. And they actually have more resilience. Number 8, talk more. Yeah, we get so busy in our lives, and even my wife and I have to deal with this from time to time. We forget to talk to each other. Here are a couple of things to kind of stimulate your conversation. What's your favorite memory of you as a couple? An exercise you can do sometime is, apart from one another, sit down and write down 3 memories you have, and then come together and see if any of them match. Second thing, what are some ways that you can let your spouse know that you care about them? Third, remember one incident. I remember an incident when that made me appreciate you more was fill in the blank. And then what are 2 or 3 things that I do for you that brighten your day? Those are just some little tips. Now, we've spent about 14 or 15 minutes together today talking about these 8 tips. I hope you'll use them. Thank you again for signing up for my email. If you need further help, here's how you can get in touch with me. You can call me at 505-306-0395. Email me, john@covertmercy.com, or go to my website, covertmercy.com. Thanks a lot. Take care. God bless. Have an awesome day.